help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodandsupply.com.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next?
All right, gentlemen, you got 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
10-4.
Provides invention services that help everyday inventors get started with their idea. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. Our services include professional materials needed to showcase your invention, and 3D animation and prototype modeling that help you demonstrate your idea. Get down to the details of your idea with a technical drawing. The InventHelp Databank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Take advantage of the opportunity to get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
They say no two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? Well, we thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. She's an artist and absolutely a visual learner. She's doing a deep dive into our Babbel wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is very much a type A, say it to my face, listening learner. So he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to make sure that accent?
Precio.
Keith's a real people person and a curious learner, so he loves Babbel's Culture Bites, full of insights and native knowledge about the language he's learning. Like, what's served for Christmas dinner in Germany?
Glühwein, Weihnachtsgans und Christmasstollen.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you text radio to 64,000. That's radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
When it comes to back-to-school shopping at Target, you can choose not to choose. From getting what you need to expressing who you are. With prices that make every choice feel right, why not choose all of the above? From backpacks, bedazzled kicks, and picture day perfect styles as bold as they are. For bring your own lunch days to science project partner days, snack stash days, decorate your locker days, and paint outside the line days. All at prices that will definitely make your day. For all of the above, it's back to school at Target.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July Summer Sale and get 30% off paints and stains July 18th through the 28th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279BI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk, last night was a disaster at Lakeside Speedway.
Well, whenever you see the headlines, read a track lighting malfunction postpones ASCS at Lakeside instead of who the winner of the feature is. Yeah, that's not good, Scott. I think maybe they thought maybe it might get rained out last night. They probably hoped that the whole thing probably would have just rained out last night. I think that's probably what they're thinking this morning, that Mother Nature could have put a stop to it, but it didn't. The weather went around Lakeside Speedway last night. Even though rain hit the Legends, you were eating supper at Famous Dave's Barbecue down there, and it was raining outside.
It was.
And you thought for sure the races were rained out. You called me at the track. I said, no, everything is moving around us. So Mother Nature didn't play well with Lakeside Speedway management, because had it moved in, we wouldn't be talking about the lights not working last night. We would have been talking about weather, and I think everybody thought maybe it was going to get rained out, because the forecast for days leading up to this event was like 100% chance of rain. So they probably would rather that happen last night, but here's the situation. The lights at Lakeside Speedway, this is not a new story. This has been going on for a while now, even more than the 4 to 5 weeks that they've been having issues getting the lights to stay on during the weekly program at Lakeside Speedway. This has been going on for a number of weeks now, but truthfully, this has been going on since the last flood, which occurred in 2019. We've seen lights go out before.
Right.
But it's going to take a major fix in order to get the lights working on a more permanent basis. And you know what that means, Scott? It takes money to do that. Lots of money to redo the lights at Lakeside Speedway, and I just don't think they've got the money to do it.
You know, they had a good idea last night. Just string up the lights above ground.
Well, they need to, all the wiring is underground.
Right.
And, we've had floods at Lakeside Speedway. That ground has been underwater many, many times. And the track is 36 years old. It was built in 1989. That's when it opened. And there's been
I raced there in
on the pavement. There's been at least 2 major floods at the racetrack. That track has been well underwater a couple of times, the most recent of which, 2019. And I remember a night not too long after the last flood, that was before COVID, I think, where the lights went out and they couldn't get them turned back on. Well, now they've just been kind of, temporarily
lollygagging around.
They've been jury-rigging the lights for all that time on a more temporary basis to get the lights working. And it finally bit them big time in a big event at Lakeside, and they had to pull the plug after an hour and 40 minutes of downtime trying to get the lights to work. And they just couldn't do it.
How long did you stay there, Kirk?
I stayed there till they made the announcement last night, and then I walked out.
I walked out a little bit earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, you left earlier. You didn't have any faith at all that they would get the lights back on, as did a lot of race fans who walked out of the facility when you did. They didn't have a lot of faith, and a lot of those fans are fans that had been there on a weekly basis prior to last night. You and I hadn't been out there. I had been out there since the high limit race back in May. So a lot of fans that left early are those that have seen this happen in the last few weeks, and they didn't have any faith that they get the lights turned back on.
Hey, Kirk, a lot of cars were leaving when I was leaving.
Yeah. So it's a bad situation, and the problem is that they have not been able to put a lot of major improvements into the track. They've done a lot of things to fix the track up, and they smoothed out the parking lot, and have done some things to give it a fresh coat of paint in certain areas and that sort of stuff. But there's not been any major redo of
the lights
aspect of the racetrack in the last 36 years, and the lights being the major one. The lights should have been replaced after the last flood, but that costs money, Scott.
Right, it does.
And the situation at Lakeside is there's more money going out than's coming in, and that's been happening for a long time, and that's a problem. It's not been a profitable enterprise for Don Mars since it began. But let's remember, Don really bought the racetrack so he could race on it.
Right.
That's why he bought the racetrack. He wanted a place he could race at. He didn't really want to run a racetrack. But here we are. We're sitting here. Now, a lot of people are questioning, are they going to make a major fix to the lighting system before the next race? I'm not sure they can do that before the next scheduled event. But I am sure now that whatever it takes to fix the lights is going to take a enormous amount of money.
I'm just wondering. I think what a lot of the people seem to be upset on online and on social media and everything. It seems like, from what I'm reading, is they knew the lights probably wasn't going to have an issue. They tried to hurry up and get through the event, knowing that if you could get past the heat races, that's a full event with no refunds. Does that sound?
Well, I'm not going to speculate.
I mean, that's what
was on the forefront of their mind. But what they should have done was try to get the entire show done before dark, especially the ASCS feature event. They had 2 races left to run in the ASCS. They had a dash and a feature event to run.
Why didn't those?
What I would have done, knowing that the lights were going to be an issue, is hustle that program along. You could tell people that, we need to get it in to beat the weather. That would be a good excuse. But
I think
start a little bit earlier so you can get done before dark in a major event like that.
I think they were
knowing that they had some issues with the lights.
Yeah, I think they were counting on it getting rained out, to be honest with you. Knowing at that point,
I think everybody thought it was going to get rained.
When I left, it was lightning.
Well, yeah, I didn't have no rain at my house. That just shows you I'm just as close to the Legends as I am to Lakeside Speedway. I'm right in the middle. All we got was lightning. We had no drops of water at all, even at our house. So 3 miles south of Lakeside.
At the Legends, it rained
and
hard.
at the Legends, it was pouring. So that's another 3 miles south from me. So, like you said, from what I'm reading and everything, I think they tested the lights earlier. They probably knew the lights was probably having an issue. They were hoping to get this thing in time. And
well, as you might imagine, social media has not been kind to Lakeside Speedway. And I understand the fans that are upset, they paid a lot of money to go to the races, and it wasn't an act of God that put an end to it last night. That's the problem. So here's what they're going to do. They're going to finish up last night's program on Friday, September 5th. That's the night of the Clyde Ellis Memorial Race, which makes a lot of sense because 2 days later they're scheduled to go to Eagle Raceway. So they're going to not only finish up the show that didn't get finished last night, which is a dash and a feature event, they're going to run another complete show, so you'll see 2 feature events for the ASCS on Friday, September 5th. That's hoping they get a permanent fix to the lights before then. Let's keep our fingers crossed that happens, and they can get the rest of the season completed at Lakeside Speedway.
September 5th is the Ellis Family Memorial.
That's it.
Right?
So, anyway, that's the plan.
That's with Clyde Ellis.
Right. So we saw Hank Davis driving the Beaver Drill and Tool Car win a heat race. We saw Matt Covington win a heat race. We saw Harley White winning a heat race. That's what we saw last night in the ASCS. So congratulations to those 3 drivers. Oh, by the way, Blake Hahn set the overall quick time last night. So
he did.
That's what we were able to witness out at Lakeside Speedway. A better night was at Lucas Oil Speedway, where it was the opening night of the Diamond Nationals, the CMH Diamond Nationals for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. Ricky Thornton Jr. won his first race since May 17th.
He outrun Jonathan Davenport.
Yeah, started on the pole and led the entire way. He and Davenport were battling side by side through the early laps of that race before Ricky, who was hugging the bottom of the racetrack, eventually pulled away to a 3+ second lead. And then Davenport had to hold off Clay Harris, who started 11th and ended up in 3rd place. Garrett Alberson, who captured the win at 34 Raceway on Thursday night, was 4th, and Devin Moran rounded out the top 5 at Lucas Oil Speedway. Another great, well-prepared racetrack at Lucas Oil Speedway last night. Tonight, there's $25,000 on the line. They paid $15,000 for the win that RTJ had last night. RTJ, it's been a while since he'd won a race He didn't even finish the race at 34 Raceway on Thursday night. He had some issues, but much better night for Ricky Thornton Jr. last night at Lucas Oil Speedway. Planning on heading down there tonight to check out the final night at Lucas Oil Speedway. So
I think I'm going to Valley Speedway.
They're going to host the at Valley the non-wing Power I MWRA sprint cars, which they were originally on the schedule at US 36 Raceway last night. Then they canceled that part of the event because they didn't want to go up against Lakeside's ASCS events. But I think US 36 got rained out anyway last night, so they wouldn't have ran even if they'd kept the non-wing sprint cars on the schedule. But tonight they'll be at Valley Speedway tonight. You're planning on heading out there? Check that out.
Hey, Chris Yantz was my neighbor up the street. He was helping Kerry Davis last night.
Yeah, it's good to see Kerry out there racing the B-Mods. Tim Kerry also still at it.
He won his heat race.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
I saw Tim Carrick down at Central Missouri Speedway last Saturday night. Went down there for the Tom Wilson Memorial. Was able to talk to Earl and Susan down there. The track's not sold yet, but they've got a couple of people that are interested in Central Missouri Speedway, so we'll see how that goes. But a huge crowd down at CMS last Saturday night. And congratulations to Dustin Hodges, who won the A-Mod feature down there. They had a great car count down there. Trenton Berry and Eric Chesterman putting together a good Heartland modified tour that's drawn good car counts down there. Track got a little bit rubber down on Saturday night. The track on Friday night was perfect. But it was a little bit one groove on Saturday night. But anyway, there was still some pretty good action down there last Saturday night, so enjoyed being down at CMS and seeing a lot of people that I hadn't seen for a while down there. So good night at the Tom Wilson Memorial.
Scott said, "Morning, boys." He's from the pit lane at Iowa Speedway.
I heard there was some bad storms that rolled into Iowa Speedway yesterday. They got the Indy cars up there this weekend.
Man, there was some.
And there was sirens going off in Newton, Iowa. Now, can you imagine all the campers and haulers and all the 18-wheelers that are associated with an IndyCar event that are already parked in place at Iowa Speedway? You got tornado sirens going off.
Hey, hopefully our camper's in good shape up there.
South, I hadn't heard that it hit Knoxville.
Yeah, I know they had the sirens rolling at the track.
Let's hope they get Knoxville in tonight because they got rained out last week. So we'll see what the weather does tonight. But they had good weather up in Jackson, Minnesota last night, up north up there. I was surprised they got that in. Ryan Timms winning the 410 feature up at the Jackson Motorplex last night. I did see the highlights of that last night. Ryan Timms what did he come from, 8th starting spot? Pretty much dominated that race. So Ryan Timms, who has won 4 410 features.
He started 5th. He started 5th, Kirk.
He started 5th. Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, he had to work his way up to the front. Once he got up in front, he pretty much checked out. Ryan Timms, who's been dominant at Knoxville this year and also at Houston Speedway, does it at Jackson Motorplex last night. So congratulations to him. I want to put a shout out to a couple of people that were injured in sprint cars. Paul Nienheiser, he's a big winner in the Sprint Invaders, had a part breakage on his sprint car up at Benton, Iowa, Benton County Speedway last Sunday night, and took a wild flip. And according to his wife, they said that he suffered some pretty serious injuries, and he is in the hospital. The good news that some of the MRI and the scans came out good, but he's going to be laid up for a while, so best wishes to Paul Nienheiser. And also I heard from Bob Douglas last night. By the way, it's good to see Bob Douglas at the racetrack.
He had a heart attack.
Well, he had heart surgery about 6 weeks ago, he tells us. and he's doing well. So it was great to see Bob back at the racetrack, but he told me that his Midwest Lightning sprint car took a wild flip at Nevada Speedway last Saturday night, and Kenny Bowers was banged up a little bit, and he's on the mend. So best wishes to Kenny Bowers. The race car, it's going to need a lot of work to get that car back on the racetrack, Bob tells me, but best wishes to Kenny Bowers. Hope he gets well. And we just found out that we had a major star in a drag racing car out at Flying H Drag Slip on Tuesday night, injured. Randy Couture. You guys watch the UFC. He's a big star in the UFC, right?
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture,
Yep.
6-time UFC champion, was attempting to get his drag license at Flying H Drag Strip, and something happened to the race car. It caught fire. He suffered burns and is laid up in the hospital right now.
Yeah, there's a shot of his arm.
Hey,
Looks
Kirk.
like he's in the burn unit there.
We can't go by without talking about Darren Bennett.
Darren Bennett was the former general manager at Lakeside Speedway for a period of time. Unfortunately,
he committed suicide.
Well, it's sad news to report that Darren Bennett has passed away. So
that's sad
all
news.
I'm going to say about that.
Right.
So, best wishes to his family. They're suffering right now, and all the people who are friends and family of Randy Bennett. Our thoughts and prayers are with you this sad time. So, a lot of off-track news going on that, unfortunately, we got to talk. Non-racing news, Scott. A lot of non-racing news that we got to talk about here this morning.
Unfortunately, we have to talk about Darren Bennett.
Yeah. So, anyway, our condolences to Darren's family at this sad time. We got Ben Shelton coming up a little bit later in this hour live, reporting from Lucas Oil Speedway on night one of the Diamond Nationals and what's to come tonight. So we'll hear from him here in just a little bit. And we have Sam Hafertepe Jr., who we saw out at Lakeside Speedway last night.
He did pretty good, didn't he?
He's coming off a weekend sweep at the Belleville High Banks a week ago.
I think he ran third last night in that heat race.
Yeah. So he was not able to run the feature event last night, but he'll be at 81 Speedway tonight. That's where the ASCS National Tour will be, and we interviewed Sam Hafertepe Jr. on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, and we'll hear part of that interview coming up here in a couple of minutes.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We can't thank you enough. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as
4.5 minutes, gentlemen. 4.5.
10-4.
Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
It's summer in Kansas City, and for most families, that means weeknights on the sports fields, kids' camps, pool days, and hustling back and forth with no time to prepare meals. Joe's KC Barbecue has you covered this summer with the Joe's To Go app. Dinner will be on the way without opening your door. All of your smoked favorites are just a few clicks away on the Joe's To Go app. Order for 1 or 100. Don't spend your summer in a drive-thru. Swing by Joe's for that traditional KC competition barbecue and tell them SSJ sent you.
From hailstorms to high winds, Kansas City weather doesn't hold back, and neither should your roof. If you're hearing this, your roof might already be trying to tell you something. Pyramid Roofing has been standing strong in KC for over 30 years. Free inspections, reliable repairs, and full replacements you can trust. Be ready for whatever hits next. Schedule your inspection today at PyramidRoofingKC.com or call 816-966-1101. Pyramid Roofing, your home deserves the best.
3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
From the Earth, from Friday, July 11th to Sunday, July 13th, take 20% off all illicit pre-rolls, singles, multi-packs, all of it. And if you're stocking up on flour, they've got options. Grab any two illicit 8s for $60 or 4 for just $100. No matter how you like to unwind, these weekend deals have you covered. Visit From the Earth or check out FTEMO.com and make it a chill one.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Hot Tub Sale. We have hot tubs coming in every week. No need to wait for months. Come get your dream hot tub today. Family Leisure also has pools in stock. Don't go another summer without a pool for your family. Come in and see our huge selection of patio furniture. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for pool tables, shuffleboard, bar stools, and home theater seating. All priced to go. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome!
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fred Ramsey.
And I'm Chris Ramsey.
Together, we host the Midwest Outdoors Radio Show, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet in St. Joseph, Missouri.
We'll be talking about everything hunting and fishing in the Kansas City area and throughout the Midwest, along with guest appearances from leaders in the industry.
Together, we have over 60 years of combined experience in the outdoor world, and we'll be sharing it with you every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Each season, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City and Sporting KC team up to recognize Blue KC Sporting Samaritans. This is a program that highlights students and teachers who make the Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play. Please nominate these difference makers by going online to bluekc.com/nominate Sporting Samaritans. That's bluekc.com/nominate Sporting Samaritans.
Now is the time for Big O Tires Big Deal Day.
1 minute, gentlemen, 1 minute.
Sets of 4 tires starting at just $400. That's right, 4 new tires installed for only $400. Plus, get the Healthy Car Special, which includes a $59.99 full-service synthetic blend oil change, tire rotation, alignment check, brake check, battery check, fluid top-off, and more. Secure total peace of mind in one powerful package. Roll into your locally owned and operated Big O Tires today. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Sporting KC return home this weekend to take on the Seattle Sounders at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. SKC are coming off the back of a 2-1 win on the road in Colorado, and the attack continues to impress as Dejan Joveljic has 6 goals in his last 6 games, and Sporting are climbing ever so close to the playoff line. It's Sporting KC versus the Seattle Sounders on Saturday with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Central, and you can catch all the action right here as it's brought to you on Sports Radio 810 WHB by Blue Cross Blue Shield and Central Bank of the Midwest.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kurt?
I was just going to say after taking the 4th of July weekend off, both the High Limit Racing and the World of Outlaws were back in action. Well, one of the series was back in action last night. World of Outlaws got rained out for the second night in a row. They were supposed to race at Deer Creek Speedway on Thursday night, rained out, and night 1 at Wilmot Speedway was also rained out, so they'll try again tonight at Wilmot for the Outlaws. But the High Limit Racing went to late model country, Florence Speedway in South Kentucky. Florence Speedway in Union, Kentucky. This will be south of Cincinnati. That's normally where we see the North-South 100 and dirt late model racing. We don't see a lot of sprint car racing at Florence Speedway, but last night they had the High Limit Racing there, and Brad Sweet wins his first feature since March last night, and Tyler Courtney ends up second ahead of Rico Abreu. A nasty crash last night involving Spencer Baston. He and Scotty Thiel got together. Baston hit the wall hard and went flipping. I'm glad he climbed out okay, but he was not happy. He got on his scooter and went right to Scotty Thiel and told him he wasn't appreciative of what happened out there on the racetrack. But pretty hard hit by Spencer Baston, and we're happy he's okay. They're going to race again tonight.
Do we have a
Ford
replay
Speedway.
of that, Kirk?
Yeah, we'll get the highlights up there here maybe in the second hour, exclusively on Race Boys. We'll talk more about that. But glad Spencer Baston is okay after that incident. Sam Hafertepe Jr. is the current point leader of the ASCS National Tour. He'll be racing tonight at 81 Speedway down by Wichita. Monday, we had Sam on our Mostly Motorsports show, and here's a little bit of that conversation.
I think that you're going to be a 6-time champion before you know it.
Well, we're trying, that's for sure. That's the goal.
And that would put you above Jason Johnson, who also has 5-time champion. How important is that to be the all-time champion in the ASCS?
I mean, years ago, I don't feel like it ever was. You never even really thought about it. Then, the older you get, you get a few more wins here and there, and then your win totals get up higher than you probably ever thought they'd ever get, and then you start thinking about that kind of stuff. I don't know anybody that wouldn't. And then you start thinking, how, what that would mean to you, and honestly, like it feels really good to still be competitive. Getting older and still be competitive, and it feels really good to know that we still we're still not done winning races, and it feels good to know that maybe the way things are going, this can keep going on for a long time. It just I don't know if the goal was ever 6 championships. I don't know that was ever even crossed our mind. But now that it's here, it's definitely something we think about for sure.
Hey, you're 126 points ahead of Blake Hahn. Talk about Blake Hahn a little bit.
Yeah, he's won a couple of championships himself, so he's back on the tour full time, just like you.
Blake has always been a pretty fierce competitor. I remember when I before I left there, before he won his championships, I always knew he gave us a pretty good couple of years of run at it when I was still there back at that time, and when we kind of moved on and ran some 410 stuff, he definitely was the guy, in ASCS at that time. He beat the likes of Bergman and those guys. He definitely, like I say, he definitely was the guy at those times. And he's probably, one of the guys to beat every night. I feel like even if Bergman didn't drop off the tour, I felt like for how he started this year, he was the guy that I was going to have to beat, night in, night out. You get Blake at any of these short tracks, and he's definitely one of the guys that can definitely put it all together. And I don't think, honestly, I don't think he probably gets enough praise for, how good of a race car driver he is. I feel like he's next level, and I feel like it's good to have him back on the tour. It definitely makes me work a lot harder, that's for sure.
You definitely lapped him the other night. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we didn't lap him. We got close, but we didn't lap him. I just, sometimes, I know through the years, they seem to struggle at the really, really big places. Like I feel like he's had a tough go at Knoxville. I feel like, their strengths are more the 3/8 and the quarters and stuff like that. And I feel like some of those tracks, like, I don't feel like they've raced a bunch of them, like we have. I've raced all over the country and with the Outlaws for years, and they race a lot of big tracks, and not just I don't think those guys get to race enough of them to get super, super good at them. I think he's definitely gotten better at Knoxville through the years, but I kind of felt going in that they would have a tough time with Belleville just because the track is so different than what everybody usually races at.
While we're on the subject of Blake Hahn, who's won 2 championships, boy, you gave him high praise after that race at Texarkana. I think that's one of the greatest races of the year. You and Matt Covington and Blake Hahn were really fighting it out down there. That was a hell of a race.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and that's what I like about, when we race with Blake, and, we can run door to door, we can be side by side, and very seldom ever get in any skirmishes, and that race at Texarkana was definitely a prime example of that. I think all three of us did a really good job staying off of each other, and I don't know if a lot of other guys, could probably say that in that same situation.
Talk about that Belleville win. You went back to back on the Belleville win. Talk about that a little bit.
The first night, honestly, the first night I was just really caught off guard at, how fast, Jason Martin was. I didn't know. I knew he was going to be good there. He's not from too far from there, and I knew it was going to be a place that he would definitely be good at. I just didn't know he was going to be that good, and I honestly kind of started the feature out really not prepared to. I wouldn't say prepared. I wasn't planning on running like a super, super hard race, and man, he got out of the gate real quick, and he ran pretty tough. So it just made me really have to ramp up, my intensity inside the car, and I just, I knew that we were going to be able to set a pretty good pace, but I didn't know a lot of other guys were going to be able to set that pace as well, and he definitely did, and he had proved to do the same thing on the second night. So, for me, it was just, honestly, I was kind of caught off guard at how good he was, and maybe I shouldn't have been. I should have been ready, but he got the lead there, and then in traffic was really sketchy the first night, and going that fast on that size of a place, it was just really, really tough to gauge, where the lap cards would go, and like I say, he was really aggressive, and I just knew I had to ramp it back up, and I just kind of bide my time. I followed him through traffic for a while, and then finally, we got 2-3 to go, and I said, man, wherever he goes, I'm going the other direction, and it just happened to play out perfect for us and put us in the right spot at the right time, and we were able to get the victory. And then going into the second night, I knew he was the class of the field, so I knew he was definitely going to be the guy we were going to have to race, and I just told myself, okay, well, on tonight, if we do get up front, I'm not going to take it easy from the start like I did the first night, and we got out there, and I felt like we just had really good command of the race the whole night, and really, really did what we should have done the first night, and dominate the race. So it was just cool to have our car be so good out of the gate, and not really have to do a whole lot to it.
You picked up the win at Salina, Dodge City, and Texarkana. Talk about those races a little bit.
Obviously Texarkana was, the funnest race I've been in a long time. I feel like you get out of the car after a race like that, your heart rate's up, you're breathing hard. Just like you don't really get a lot of races like that anymore, where you're really working that hard and you're so amped up, and that was just really cool to be a part of that. But to win at Dodge City, that was. I always feel like Dodge City is a really good racetrack for us. I don't think we've lost a race there in the last couple of years, and kind of much of the same there. We pretty well dominated that race. That was a fun racetrack to go to for sure. I always enjoy going to Dodge City. They do a really good job out there. The promoter out there, he does whatever it takes to make it happen for the fans and for the racers, and we definitely need more places like that to race at.
All right, listen, we're going to take a break. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerRide Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, more Track Talk when we continue.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial.
3.5 minutes, gentlemen. 3.5.
1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Big news, Kansas City. Joslin's Jewelry has just been named Best of Kansas City by Ingram's Magazine and awarded the prestigious gold medal. For over 47 years, Joslin's has been your go-to for exquisite jewelry and exceptional service. All of us here at WHB are proud to be partners with Joslin's and would like to recognize this great achievement. Visit Joslin's Jewelry, where every piece tells a story. Joslin's Jewelry is at the corner of 95th and Antioch in Overland Park. Joslin's Jewelry, the gold standard in fine jewelry.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC has been Kansas City's go-to dealership since 1995. They're proud to offer the area's biggest selection and best deals on new vehicles. Save up to $14,000 on new GMC Sierra or drive away in a new Buick with 0.9% APR and no payments for 90 days. Hundreds of vehicles, thousands in savings, one trusted name. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by I-35 in Santa Fe. Robert Brogdon Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Link to term varies for special APR, must qualify and finance through GMF.
Get ready for Jurassic-sized fun this summer at the Kansas City Zoo and Aquarium. Don't miss the brand new Dinosaurs Around the World exhibit produced by Imagine, running now through August 24th. Life-sized animatronic dinosaurs will be located throughout the top side of the zoo, all included in your zoo general admission or membership. Grab a dino checklist as you enter the zoo to ensure you find them all. Learn more and plan your visit today at kansascityzoo.org.
Stephen St. John here. Is your lawn ready to be the envy of the neighborhood? Custom Lawn and Landscape makes achieving a green, weed-free lawn easy with their expert 7-step fertilization and weed control program. With over 40 years of experience serving Johnson County, they're excited to now be serving Lawrence and all of Kansas City as well. And here's the best part. Get your first application absolutely free. Call Custom Lawn today or visit customlawn.com to claim your free application and get started. Custom Lawn and Landscape, because beautiful lawns don't happen by accident. It's summer in Kansas City, and for most people,
1 minute, gentlemen. 1 minute.
kids camps, pool days, and hustling back and forth with no time to prepare meals. Joe's KC Barbecue has you covered this summer with the Joe's To Go app. Dinner will be on the way without opening your door. All of your smoked favorites are just a few clicks away on the Joe's To Go app. Order for 1 or 100. Don't spend your summer in a drive-thru. Swing by Joe's for that traditional KC competition barbecue and tell them SSJ sent you.
Start your engine! Here we go racing in the Toyota Save Mark 350.
Tyler Reddick now looks to the inside of Joey Logano. He doesn't have enough. Logano slams the door. Side by side. Ross Chastain is on the inside of Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman on driver's left as they go through the right-hander in turn number 7. My gosh, it's hard to count the number of cars that are involved.
The Toyota Save Mart 350 from Sonoma. Sunday, July 13th at 2:30.
Your home for NASCAR. ESPN Kansas City, 1510 a.m.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerRide Midwest Lightning Sprints. Joining us now on the show is Ben Shelton. Ben, how you doing?
Oh, man, doing good. How you guys doing, Scott?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you what, the racing last night, Lucas Oil Speedway delivered on the track conditions again. That track has been great for the last couple of years, ever since they added dirt to it, I think. Another great track. A little bit different last night than some of these guys were expecting, though, but Ricky Thornton Jr. comes out of there with a perfect night, which is saying something after the night he had at 34 Raceway. That's quite a turnaround for RTJ, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big night, and admittedly, he knew he was probably going to be starting on the front row with Jonathan Davenport for the feature, and his goal was to stay within a straightaway of Davenport, and he did, but it was the opposite end. He was a full straightaway ahead of him, and yeah, tires were a game. These guys are still figuring out these new Hoosier tires, and Davenport, who's got a good handle on the place, he went hard on tires, but Thornton went soft, and it worked out. I mean, Thornton really a dominant experience and a performance, I should say, and a much-needed win.
Talk about those tires a little bit.
Well, yeah, Hoosier a few years ago obviously came out with initially 4 compounds, the National Late Model Tire 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the 1 just never really took off. But they went back, and on the right rear, they came out with a different pattern on the 3 and the 4 back in April or so of this year. And those tires are just acting, they behave different in different conditions. And even, you got Jonathan Davenport, who's going to, he's well on his way to being on the Mount Rushmore of late model racing. And when it throws him for a loop at a place that he's won 8 races since 2023, you just know they perform a little bit different. They fire a little bit different. And, they handle the track surface different than they have in the past. So these guys are learning. And last night, Ricky Thornton Jr., took a gamble and paid off in a big way.
They had a pretty good race going on there for a minute. Talk about that a little bit.
The Clay Harris coming from 11th to 3rd, battling with JD there for a little bit.
Yeah, early in the race, it looked like JD really had something for Thornton, and there was a caution early. And after that caution, Thornton admittedly changed the way he was driving, and then the tires really fired. And then Davenport at that point, it was a battle for second on back. And, yeah, Clay Harris coming 11th to 3rd. I mean, you hear the cliche, man, those guys really needed that. That team really needed that. He came out of the gate last year as a rookie, almost won early on at Ocala. Should have won. He was leading in the rubber and made a bad decision to get out of the rubber. But as good as last year was, is as bad as this year's been. And that team really thought about not sticking with things. Then they heard a motor at 34 Raceway, and they thought they might just go home after Thursday night. But the team gets a motor up here, and just a huge shot in the arm last night, and a feel-good story for a guy definitely battling that sophomore slump on the Lucas Oil series in Clay Harris.
Hey, Clay Harris is an exceptional driver. Talk about him a little bit.
Well, Clay, he comes out of go-karts like, a lot of our top guys do in all divisions of motorsports. He learned so much car control, and I think he was a 7-time, champion in go-karts. He had over 400 wins, and then he gets really hot down there in Florida in the crate late model division, and he progresses into the super late model division. As I said, he almost wins one of his first super starts last year with the Lucas Oil Series, but man, this is a tough business, and he's really, really struggled in a lot of places he's been this year, whether it's Lucas Oil or other series, but they haven't given up, and they kept digging, and you hope for that team that last night wasn't a one-off performance. It's a sign of things to come.
As well as Hudson O'Neill had been running at Lucas Oil Speedway, I expected him to be up in the mix last night. He ended up in 8th place. Was he on a harder tire too?
I'm not sure what compound he went on, but I watched that car in the feature. Kurt, it's ironic you say that, and you could just tell he wasn't as comfortable as he has been this year. I mean, entering last night, he'd won 4 out of 5 features that he had attempted this year, all against really good fields at Lucas Oil Speedway. But last night, he had a top 10 car. A lot of those guys, their biggest issue, they could get to 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 was really a challenge for them. Some guys were low, some were high, but Hudson spent a lot of time searching last night, and one night away from after coming 11th to 2nd at 34 Raceway, you really thought he'd be a contender last night. He was not, but I would not count out Jason Durham and that team tonight. He's really got a good setup for here, and you got to wonder, same deal, if they just went with the wrong tires.
One question, while you're working in the pits, do you have any idea who's on what tire when they go out onto the racetrack?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Obviously, places like Eldora Speedway where the pits are the infield, when they're presenting them to the grid, I'll walk down through there. And then there's other nights where series director Rick Schwally, he and his staff will take a note, and they'll shoot us all a text, hey, these guys are on this, these guys are on that. Last night we did not know. It really varies, and it's definitely become a bigger factor the past few years as these guys work to figure out these tires, and then they change up the configuration of the tires they've got. There's a lot of nights where we pay a lot of attention to the tire game, but none of us had a feel last night for who had what.
Garrett Albertson had a great night at 34 Raceway. He is, he picked up his first Lucas Oil win Not his first win of his career, but the first win this year at 34 Raceway. He was in the mix at the Show Me 100. He had a fast race car till he got involved in a wreck. Garrett Alberson is a guy that certainly can win tonight, can he not?
No, he absolutely can. He charged up to there last night. At one point, from like 10th, he was up to 3rd, and you thought he might have something for him. And then, his car went away a little bit. He came away with a good run last night. But, Lucas Oil Speedway is a place that's always just kind of fit his driving style. He's regularly a fast qualifier. He set the track record here, I think, last year. Really good guy and, really talented. And he and that whole Roberts Motorsports team, we're not supposed to have favorites, but I think everybody in the sport, they don't mind when they see Garrett performing well. And he's definitely one to watch tonight. He's won some big races this year with both the World of Outlaws and, like you said, Thursday night, he got a second career Lucas Oil win. That was his first one of the year. And he had to work for it. Brandon Overton and Hudson O'Neill, they went around him, and he got around them with 4 to go. So it's been fun watching the evolution of the New Mexico native.
We keep tabs on the top 4. That's what really matters when you get down to crunch time for the championship. Who makes the top 4? Right now, Hudson O'Neill leads that position over Garrett Alberson. How big of a battle are we going to see there for that final transfer into that top 4 here as the season goes on?
Man, I think it's going to continue to heat up. I mean, we saw last year at Knoxville Raceway, which was the cutoff event, it literally went down to the last few laps, and, Tim McCready got around Hudson. Hudson had some bad luck there for that final spot in the battle. I think the story is obviously your top 2 guys are your top 2 guys. Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jonathan Davenport, they're just progressively pulling away from, everybody else, and Davenport actually leads the points right now. But Devin Moran, who is a guy that I picked to win the title this year, and a lot of people after second the past few years, he's sliding backwards a little bit. So he's in 3rd, and he's not real far in front of Hudson, who, earlier in the year, Hudson was as far back as 8th or so in the points. So Hudson's making up ground on him. Alberson was in that 4th spot for the first quarter of the year or so. He's starting to catch fire, and then Brandon Shepard, he's on the outside looking in. They just won at Atomic Speedway last week. So, man, you very easily could have 5 or so guys going for those last 2 spots in the Big River Steel Chase for the championship. So it's exciting to see. And, last year delivered. I mean, it showed that it's really fun, and those guys are trying to get into that championship 4, and it goes right down to the wire. I don't expect this year to be any different.
Brandon Shepard in that Rocket House car, he, in an interview about a week ago, he was talking about during the time off that they were trying some things on his own race car that he took to Mark Richards and to try to adapt on the number 1 car. We've seen some positive signs out of Brandon Shepard. Where do you see their program right now in that Rocket 1 car?
They're definitely, they're definitely right now not where the Longhorn camp's at, but they're making gains. They're working, and sometimes we overthink things, whether we're a driver or we're a chassis builder or a team owner. And Brandon was very candid about that after he won at Atomic Speedway. Last week he said, I had him change a lot of things at Speed Weeks, and he goes, and then we go back, and my family owned B5 last week. We're racing, and we go to Summer Nationals, and we go back to some of the things that Mark had on the car, and I realized that's where we should have been. And so he went to Mark Richards, the team owner, and said, hey, we should do this. And, Mark and Brandon have that relationship where they can be honest. And Mark told him, he said, man, that's where we were to start the year. And so anyway, they went back to it. I don't think you can gauge too much off this weekend for them. Traditionally, the Rocket 1 team has just never been really good here. They contended, I think, last year for the Show Me 100 championship, but and that was a tire choice that put them in that spot. They've just never been great at this place, but I do think on the back half of the year, I think there's a few more wins coming for that team. I think Shepard, it's going to be tough to get into that top 4, but hey, last year, again, in the last few laps at Knoxville, Tim McCready, who was in that ride, he got into the 4th and final spot, so don't count them out, but, man, I just feel like they got a little bit bigger hole to dig this year. I think the big dividends for Rocket 1 we're probably not going to see till 2026 as they're just continuing to develop their new program.
Hey, Ricky Thornton Jr. has 10 wins. Jonathan Davenport has 5. Talk about that scenario a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think those 2 guys are just, they're obviously just a little bit better than everybody else, maybe a lot better than everybody else. And, Devin Moran has 5 wins on the tour this year, but they came earlier, and that team they hit a little bit of a slump, not by other people's standards, but by theirs. They just can't quite get over it. But right now, I mean, it's when those teams unload, it's really tough to bet against, Thornton and Davenport as your perennial favorites. Although, before last night, actually, I think the last 5 races, or last 6, there's been 6 different winners now. So you have seen different faces there, but you just keep seeing the same drivers in that Big River Steel podium, even if they're not winning, unless mechanical issue knocks them out, or, JD had the droop chain was loose at Muskingum County that took him out of a podium. You had Thornton with mechanical issues running second to the night 34. Those guys just have a really good program right now, and it says a lot about them in a sport that's really tough to separate yourself. Those 2 guys have separated themselves from pretty much everybody else on the Lucas Oil Series.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it was May 17th, the last time that RTJ had won a race. He was celebrating big with his kids last night, wasn't he? That had a little extra flair to it after so long of winning a race, hadn't it?
No, it did. I mean, the last time we saw him win, he's picking up 50,000, and they're in Eagle, Nebraska, the Malvern Bank High Banks heist, and then, again, things just went cold, and he's had some bad luck. He's been contender, but they just have had some really bad luck. Conversely, Davenport, apart from Muskingum County when the droop limiter chain came loose and he got DQ'd after the race, Davenport's been really consistent. This has been a big year of consistency for JD, and they're really focused on getting that 4th Lucas Oil title, but you got to be consistent, but you also got to win races when it comes down to it. So I think you're going to see both those guys turning up the wick as we get into the back half of the season and look ahead to October when we crown a champion at Eldora.
The chain breaking and the droop test, Ricky Thornton Jr. had that happen to him at Lucas Oil Speedway a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, Show Me 100 champion, or so it seemed, and then the tech shed happens, and next thing you know, he wasn't fully disqualified, but he had enough of an infraction. I think he was penalized 4 spots. So Devin Moran was your champion, and it's a tough way to lose one. But always say you can't have rules if you're not going to enforce them. And series, pretty much all of us run that rule now, and it's a safety deal. And sometimes it just goes south on you, and it got Davenport the other night, but. I think it's one of those deals. If it happens once, you're probably not going to see it happen a second time. Those guys triple check those things, and it's just again, it's why we play the game, right?
Before we wrap up talking about tonight, I want to look ahead just a little bit. You're going to be at the Shelby County Speedway, Harlan, Iowa. I went to that track as a kid. That's a great racetrack. I think it's a little smaller now than it used to be, but you're heading there. And then the Silver Dollar Nationals, which was very successful at the I-80 Speedway that's no longer there, has moved to Houston Speedway up in South Dakota. That's a big crown jewel event coming up next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money happening right now. And, obviously Shelby County last year put on a stellar show for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. And, they've to your point, Kirk, they reconfigured it a couple of years ago, and that place is really nice, races really well, and man, those people love racing there in that area. And then we have to Houston Speedway and Todd Queering and the gang. They just keep throwing different stuff at it. They've changed the configuration of the track here and there. I think it's $75,000 to win this year. People say late models can't race there, but man, I tell you what, last year Brandon Shepard and Brandon Overton put on a show. Bobby Pierce put on a show. And, it's tight, and you got to really have good car control. Your car's got to be set up. But, I'll say this. Obviously, Houston is known for their sprint car history. But Todd Queering is determined to find a way to make that a perennial late model attraction as well. And, you got to really get behind guys like that care so much about this sport and just want to see it continue to grow. So much respect to him, and we look forward to the next week on tour.
Tonight, look forward to seeing down there, Ben. We're heading down there tonight, and I think, just a complete different show than last night, except it pays more money, right? $25,000 to win?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was 40 laps last night. Tonight it's 50. It's $25,000 to win, and the Super Stocks are the sole support division, and those guys have turned out in big numbers. They've got a star-studded field from all across the Midwest and the Southeast. So it's looking to be a great night of racing. It's about 10 degrees cooler, which we'll welcome, and looking forward to seeing you guys out there.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Ben. Great job on Flow Racing, and we'll see you at Wheatland.
Absolutely. You guys take care, and we'll see you tonight.
All right. Take care. Ben Shelton, the pit reporter for Flow Racing's coverage of the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. But it's going to be fun to get back down to Lucas Oil Speedway tonight.
All right, more track talk coming up next here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
We got Jeremy Elliott from SprintCarUnlimited.com joining us. Recap PA Sprint Week and everything's going on in PA.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you doing so.
Hey, thanks to Jay Powers and Todd Surprise. Great job as always.
Thanks, guys.
We'll look forward to talking to everybody next week.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next hour on Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
I'd love to play
Thanks,
golf
man.
this weekend, but it's impossible.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Rock and roll. Have a
All
good
right.
week. Thanks, bro.
PlayGolfKC.com.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. It's nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will. Maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here. Sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup. Tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guide. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints.
You and I went to the races together at Sweet Springs on Tuesday night.
Right.
We had a good time out there, didn't we?
We did. The racing was great.
It was. The track, they'd gotten some rain the day before that, which made, and normally Sweet Springs, they do a great job of prepping the racetrack, and the track was in good shape, but they'd had probably a little bit more rain than they really wanted.
Right.
So it was bottom dominant through much of the feature event. There was nothing anybody could do about that.
I called it, didn't I?
You did during the micro race.
Right.
But it's nobody's fault that happened. They just got an inordinate amount of rain the day before, and it just was what it was. But it was good for Cannon McIntosh, who was able to take advantage of all that and go wire to wire in the feature event on Tuesday night. We had a first-time winner at Beloit, Kansas on Wednesday night, the Chad McDaniel Memorial. It was Drake Edwards winning his first ever USAC National Midget Race. And then last night, the first of two nights at Fairbury, Nebraska, Gavin Miller led all the way to win the feature event. They're going to race again tonight at Jefferson County Speedway in Fairbury, Nebraska. But I got a little sound from Tuesday night at Sweet Springs, Missouri. We talked to the top three finishers, Cannon McIntosh, Justin Grant, and Dazen Persley. You want to hear that sound right now?
Yep.
Let's go for it. Here is Cannon McIntosh after his win on Tuesday night at Sweet Springs. Congratulations to you. How difficult was that when you got into lap traffic?
Yeah, it was definitely getting tricky. I kind of figured there after a couple laps behind them that they weren't going to move off the bottom and that it was going to come down to me moving around. But thankfully we had a yellow there, and just kind of adjusted my lineup a little bit and made some adjustments to the shocks and was able to kind of get away there on the restart. So yeah, just big thanks to this KKM crew, Mobil 1, Toyota, everyone that makes it happen. And yeah, we had a great car tonight and was able to put in victory lane.
Important to really qualify well tonight on a bottom dominant track.
Yeah, for sure. We qualified right about where you'd want to on the front row there, and yeah, was able to get under Justin there on the first lap, which I think was probably the winning move with not moving really much after that. So yeah, just was glad we got the jump there in the beginning and was able to hold on all the way to the end.
How big of a boost was it to win the BC 39 the second year in a row?
I think that was a big part of what happened tonight, just a little bit of confidence booster, and I think we're just starting to find our rhythm and trying to carry that momentum in every race.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you after you won that race. You come from 19th to win that race after flipping the car. What was your mindset going into the second day of the BC 39?
Yeah, we actually crashed the same night, so that was we were definitely searching for answers there, or at least on my end. I was just trying to figure out what I need to do to keep myself out of trouble, and I knew it was going to be tough after we got upside down and we were going to be pretty buried. So it was really about just keeping our heads in it and not giving up. The guys kind of they kept their heads in it, and just came down to me believing in the team and in myself as well, and just putting it in victory lane at the end.
That's Cannon McIntosh, the winner Tuesday night at Sweet Springs. Justin Grant looked like he was going to make a move on McIntosh through lap traffic, but unfortunately for Justin Grant, a yellow flag came out, gave Cannon a clean racetrack, and that ended any threat for Justin Grant. Here is second place finisher Justin Grant, the current point leader in the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget Standings. Really close in lap traffic there. What more did you need?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately need to do a little better job on the start there. Let him buy me on the start, and then it was just pretty bottom dominant there. Getting to him in lap traffic, I felt like was going to be good for us. I could kind of work that middle, and he looked like he was pretty hesitant to move off it. It's kind of like right the lap we were getting to him, the yellow come out, and then got him on a little mistake there on the restart and got to his outside down into 3, and felt like we could hook that middle down there off of 3 and 4 really well, and thought might have a shot there, and we got another yellow, and then we rolled around for a long time, and that pile I was kind of working in the middle dried up and blew off, and we had to get back on the berm and get in line and come home second. But ultimately just need to do a little better job on the start. Chad and the CBI boys gave me a great NOS Energy Drink 87. It was a good night for us. Come home second, grand scheme. We're trying to win a championship, and tonight we'll do that. Just gave up a little bit on the start there, and need to clean that up.
Boy, that was a tough way to end that BC 39 there. Just how difficult was that?
Yeah, no, BC 39's it's an intense race and a lot of fun, and had a lot of fun there battling Jacob, and just went to cross him over there, and when he come off of the wall, he got a little bit like half sideways, and I got up over his left front. Just one of them deals, just two guys racing really, really hard for a race that means a lot to all of us, and our tires tangled up a little bit. So it's it was a bummer. Obviously, wanted to win it, but grand scheme, I'm going to be okay. I'm fortunate to have won it there once and run well there a fair bit, and so feel grateful and fortunate for that, and grateful to be up there being a part of the show, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna be okay.
That Triple Crown Championship is out there to be had. How much do you think about that on a daily basis?
Well, it's kind of shapes everything I do right now. Trying to be my best night in, night out, and that means taking care of myself and being my best through the week. Being in the right state of mind, being physically fit, being all the things, studying the racetracks we're going to, being on top of each different car I got to get in, make sure I'm doing the right things, with the right cars, and so ultimately it kind of shapes my life at the moment. But thinking about it, not so much. Thinking about tonight.
Becoming the 9th Triple Crown champion of USAC is certainly a big deal to Justin Grant. But I'll tell you one other thing that would be rounding out his resume, Scott. a Chili Bowl win. That would really round out his resume, wouldn't it?
It would.
So someday we're going to see that down at Tulsa.
Do you think he's going to win the Chili Bowl?
Absolutely. That would be a big deal if he won the Chili Bowl. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Dason Persley, who almost won the Chili Bowl this year, finished third. He was away from his duties as a high-limit wing sprint car driver for a couple of races. But Tuesday night he was at Sweet Springs, brought the Chad Boat number 86 in third after disappointingly missing the BC 39 finale. We'll ask Dason about this, but here's Dason Persley's comments after his third place run at Sweet Springs.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just track to widen out. This thing's pretty muddy as we're looking at it right here. But no, nonetheless, Sweet Springs got a lot of rain and prepared us a good racetrack to come out here and race. And yeah, just anytime I get to come back and run USAC cars, it's fun and everything. So yeah, I don't really know exactly what I needed. Really need to go back and kind of watch the race and see if I made the right decisions at the right time or what I could have done a little bit different. So just felt like I was just slacking a little bit of speed here and there, and then didn't really drive the best race either to get to the front as fast as I needed to. But always enjoy coming back and running the CB Industries Midget, and it's always a great pleasure here to come back and race at Sweet Springs, another place that's close to home.
We missed you on the second night of the BC 39. What happened?
Yeah, just unfortunately had some, minor medical issues that sidelined me and everything, and just a little freak deal. So unfortunately missed the BC 39 that I really enjoy going to, and happens once a year. So it's a cool event, and unfortunately we got to wait another year to participate in it and see if we can hoist one of those and kiss the bricks.
You had a good car too that night too. I had to be really difficult to miss.
Yeah, it was very difficult to set that one out. I've unfortunately had to set a lot of stuff out with just silly injuries and some major injuries as well too. So just all part of life and everything. And this is the reason we keep coming back is because this sport's addicting and drives you to want to do better and win and all the time. So yeah, I feel like I've surrounded myself with good people to do all of those things. Just have to take advantage of it when the time comes.
That is Dason Persley, finished third at Sweet Springs on Tuesday night. We appreciate those guys spending a little time with us after the races. Had a good time out at Sweet Springs. The great thing about Sweet Springs is they have some of the best concessions of any racetrack I go to. The food is excellent at Sweet Springs.
I had a hot dog.
It was good, wasn't it?
Did you have a cheeseburger?
No, I had a double hamburger. That's what I had.
A double?
Yeah. But they got these pulled pork sandwiches that are really good there, too. The other place that's got great concessions, where I'm going tonight, Lucas Oil Speedway. Great food at Lucas Oil Speedway. So that's my food critique for the day, or maybe for the year.
Hopefully Valley have some good food.
Hey, Scott, they finished up PA Sprint Week. This past week, Anthony Macri wins his third straight PA Sprint Week championship. Who better to talk about that than Jeremy Elliott from SprintCarUnlimited.com, joining us right now from PA. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Not too bad. What was your overall impressions of PA Speed Week? They had a few rainouts early, but they finished up strong, did they not?
Yeah, they finished up strong with 6 races straight, Wednesday through Sunday. It was typical Speed Week. Good crowds, some good racing, some good storylines. Got 7 of 10 shows in. Obviously, like you said, it started a little slow, but once they got going, I mean, it was good stuff. And of course, it was hot, as it normally is for Speed Week. And Anthony Macri wins another title. That was his third straight. Only one other guy in history who has won 3 or more. Fred Raymer did it twice. He won 4 each time. So it's getting to be Anthony Macri week because the numbers he's putting up are just alarming. Over 22 races, which is the last 3 years. He has 7 wins. 18 podiums and 21 out of 22 races in the top 5. And the one where he finished 21st, he was leading and just popped the cushion and spun it. So it's Anthony Macary's really developed into this driver who isn't just this aggressive kid who, is on the edge. He can run the bottom, he can run the middle, he can run the top. He knows the limitations of his car. He knows when to push it. He has a good crew and team behind him, and again, he wins another title.
The Concrete Kid, talk about him a little bit. He seems to be really getting into his groove.
Yeah, I mean, they started the season pretty sluggish. It was almost like, what's going on? Because one thing Anthony always does is time well. And they weren't even timing well. So it just, I don't know, it just took them seems like a month or two, maybe, 8-9 weeks, whatever, to get going. And once they did, they started rattling off wins again. So I know he only had one PA Speed Week win. Could have had 3. Freddie Raymer got him at Lincoln, kind of caught him napping a little bit, and then he just didn't get to the front quick enough at the Grove. And then he got passed by Lance DeWeese on a late restart at Port Royal. Could have been a bigger week, but still, Anthony Macri, they seem to have fixed whatever problems they have. They had a second at a World of Outlaws event out at Beaver Dam. He is consistent. He has speed again, and he has 8 wins under his belt in 48 starts. So, in 34 top 10s, 23 top 5s. So, he's back on pace, and again, I think it's going to be a double-digit win season for him.
Danny Dietrich had 2 wins, PA Speed Week. Freddie Raymer with the win. You had Kyle Larson winning at Hagerstown. You had Lance DeWeese. You mentioned the second Port Royal race. And Chase Dietz finishes off PA Speed Week at where was Path Valley Speedway? That's what I wanted to get out of. Your thoughts about Chase Dietz and another driver I wanted to ask you about, Troy Wagaman Jr. These guys sure seem to stick out here in 2025.
Yeah, Chase has been alarmingly consistent. And now I also believe Chase Dietz has improved the last 3 years each year. He was in his own car. He put it on the podium National Open weekend last year against the World of Outlaws at Williams Grove. I thought he performed well in his own car. Now he's in the Stamen Motorsports machine. And they've been one of the most consistent drivers in the region, right up there with Danny Dietrich and Anthony Macri. In fact, I think they're tied in top 5 finishes. So he's been good. He struggled a little bit at Speed Week because Monday at Lincoln he got upside down, and that put him behind a little bit. He was good at Port Royal, or decent at Port Royal. Then he finishes it off at Path Valley. He was third in points. He expected a better week, but again, kind of bending up that car at Lincoln put him behind a little bit, and it's just something you don't want for Speed Week. Troy Wagaman Jr. had a rough week. He didn't finish the week because of motor issues. He had a lot of motor issues that week. Port Royal especially on Saturday night, which kept him out of Path Valley. So, but Troy Wagaman's been good. He has 3 wins this year, which ties his total each of the last 2 years. So I think he'll bust through that. I like him in the Hefner Enterprises machine because, he's easy on equipment because he came up through the ranks, open trailer, his own stuff. I think he's time trialing better than he was at one time. I think he's really settled into a groove with crew chief Ben Engel. So I think those 2 guys, Dietz and Wagaman, are just adding to the area. We needed somebody in central Pennsylvania to complement Dietrich and Macri. Back through the 2000s, we had a host of those guys. We had DeWeese, we had Hodnett, Fred Raymer, then you had Todd Schaefer, Keith Kaufman. I mean, you had just a laundry list of guys who were at the top of their game. And then you had Chad Layton in there who was tough, Doug Esch and guys like that. So we needed some of that depth, and Wagaman and Dietz are providing that right now. We need a couple other guys to step up, but those two have definitely added to the potency of the list of Central PA guys.
Lance Deweese outran Anthony Macri at Port Royal. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was actually standing in the infield at turn 4, and usually when Macri gets the lead at Port Royal, it's lights out, and he passed Deweese to get the lead. So they get to that. I mean, he had a 2.3 second lead, 2.8 seconds, whatever it was, going into that caution, and Deweese really wasn't cutting into it. So it was just, I talked to Deweese afterward, and it was just one of those cases where Macri got tight on the restart, and Lance Deweese just, his tires cooled down, he found a strip and drove right by him. And then Macri couldn't do anything with him. So, again, a veteran, Lance Deweese can still win races. That car has been faster this year. I think Lance is settled into a groove with Shearer Motorsports. They made some changes to the team in the offseason. So Schreiner joined them, the crew chief. So I think it's just they needed to get things in the right position for Deweese to be comfortable. They've done that. They've had more speed this year. I think people forget that over the Weikert weekend where High Limit came to town, Deweese is the only driver who had 2 podiums. So I think Lance looks really good this year. I think he's going to win a couple more races. He has 2 already. And that was a big one at Port Royal last week because it was the Hodnet Classic, which, paid $20,000 to win. So that's never bad. And I just think he's going to be a handful the rest of the year in here. So it was good. Lance is 59. He doesn't even know when it's going to end. So any win he can get's a good one at this point.
Anthony Macri is 35 points up on Danny Dietrich.
Well, that's final, isn't it? In
yes.
the PA Speed Week, that's final standings right there. Hey, I was going to ask you about the Kreitz car. That's the car that Lance Deweese used to drive at one time. He was very successful in that ride for many years. But Ryan Smith been driving. We've seen Christopher Bell in that car. Ryan Smith was in a different ride at Path Valley. Just where we at with the Don Kreitz number 69? And Ryan Smith seems to be in that seat most of the time.
Yeah, I mean the Kreitz car. It's interesting. They travel more now than they ever did. It seems like. He's been to Volusia. They won with Christopher Bell down there. They went to Texas. Had some problems there. Darren Pittman ran it at Vegas and had the field controlled until they ran out of fuel. The whole fuel issue this year. But the Kreitz car is fast. It doesn't matter who's in it. Ryan Smith, Darren Pittman, Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell's going to be in it Wednesday and Thursday at Kings Royal next week, and then Ryan Smith will take over Friday, Saturday. Ryan Smith has seen a kind of a career resurgence. Talked to him numerous times this year, and he was going to quit at one point. He wasn't enjoying the sport very much. Then late last year, he got a ride in he raced I think it was one race in the Kreitz car. Kind of was going to come back and fill in for when Pittman and Bell couldn't run it. So he's going to run it the most, and he's having fun. He's enjoying it. He's fast. He's winning races. Ryan Smith's better than advertised. Now, he ran the BJD Motorsports team. That's the other car he runs when he's not running the Kreitz car. And he's taken some of the things from Kreitz and moved it over there, and he's fast there as well. Easily could have won Path Valley. Chase Dietz beat him, but Ryan Smith didn't go anywhere at the end after getting past. I think a couple more laps, he found the bottom. He might have won that in the 6 car. So I think Ryan Smith right now has a lot of confidence. I think Ryan Smith has 2 cars that are pretty quick. And, I think he finished second at Clinton County last night. And it's just a different Ryan Smith than we've seen the last 2-3 years. So the Kreitz car can make that happen. It's a good car. Whatever they do with that thing, they do it well. They stick to what they know, and they make it work. And whoever gets in that car is fast. Christopher Bell will probably be fast at Eldora next week. Darren Pittman will be fast when he runs it at the Grove against the Outlaws this year. So it's fun to watch that car go around and be competitive. And Ryan Smith, nice guy, just had a kid. I've never known him to have any problems in the pit area or anything like that. Just a nice guy, and he's back to being competitive in Central Pennsylvania.
They were so good at the Nationals last year. I heard that they're not going to bring the 69 car to Knoxville this year.
No, I've heard the same thing. They're not. That's not on their list, but anything can change. So I've learned that covering this sport the last 20, 25 years. So I don't expect to see it at the Nationals, but I didn't expect it at the Kings Royal either. And we got that announcement, this past week that Bell's going to be in it. So I don't think Bell won't be in it at Knoxville. I know that because he's not going to run Saturdays. That's the trade-off with being able to run a sprint car and Joe Gibbs. He can't run it on the weekend. So I don't expect that car to be there. Plus, they've taken other trips this year. Like I said, they were out at Vegas. They were at Volusia. They were at Texas. They're going to Ohio. I mean, that team, the average age of that team, it isn't young. And it's over 50. It's actually over 60 probably. So
is Davey Brown still working on that car?
Yes. He is still in the pit area at, I think, 90 years old. So,
man.
And you're not going to – he still knows his stuff. He's sharp. He gets around. He still works on it. He still gets down on the ground and works on it. I hope I'm moving around. I hope I'm just moving at 90 years old. So it's a great story. They always have speed, and whoever's in the car is competitive.
All right, I want to ask you about the national scene. We got back into action last night with the high limit racing at Florence Speedway in Kentucky. The World of Outlaws has been rained out the last 2 nights, so not much to talk about there. We'll look forward to seeing them in Ohio this next week, hopefully tonight at Wilmot if they can get it in. But last night at Florence Speedway, Brad Sweet wins his first race in, I don't know how, was it March? Since he won a feature race, but he got back into the winner's circle last night at Florence Speedway. But a nasty crash involving Spencer Baston. That was a scary crash. Fortunately, he was able to get out of that car okay. What are your thoughts about last night at Florence Speedway?
Well, first for Brad Sweet, I watched him win at Beaver Dam. He beat the World of Outlaws June 7th. But, yes, last night was his first high-limit win since March, the end of March. Brad's, I did a 90 at 9 the other day where I picked 3 guys to have a better second half to the season, and Brad Sweet's one of them. I think the break probably came at the right time. I think Ty Wolfgang and Brad Sweet are still gelling, still finding that right combination. I expect that to happen. People forget he hasn't made the last 2 Kings Royals. So I think that's going to change. I don't necessarily say – I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I think he's going to be in the main event, which has been a problem at Eldora. And I just don't – I think Brad is going to win the title still. I think the 2 guys to watch, I think Aaron Reitzel's doing, I think he's going to win his share of races. Probably second to Rico in that category by the time the season ends. But I think Courtney and Sweet are going to take off in this second half. So I'm not surprised Brad won last night. The wreck between Baston and Scotty Thiel, I don't think Scotty saw him. He was kind of in his blind spot. These things don't have mirrors. So I'm not saying that, Spencer shouldn't be mad. I'm saying that I don't think Scotty saw him, and I think it was a racing incident at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, Spencer Baston was not happy with Scotty Thiel. We'll just put it that way.
No, he wasn't. And here's what I don't understand about sprint car. I don't know the rules. So if you go punch somebody, is that a fine? Is that a suspension? Or isn't it? because, and again, this goes back to the guy was in his car. And I know people want to see it. I know sex sells, I guess, if you want to use that term. And drama sells. I get that. But I don't know the rules. If you go to another person's pit area in a lot of places, there's going to be a penalty. So I always chuckle when I see that, because I know it seems like there's no definitive rules on how things like that are handled. Look, Spencer Bayston is frustrated, and rightly so. He has not been good this year. This is something I didn't expect. I thought that Spencer Bayston would be better. I thought he'd be more competitive in that car. I thought he was going to be, I thought easily a franchise/charter this year, winning races. When he got in that car, I was a little concerned at the end of last year when he ran some NARC races and he finished like 10th. He didn't. I'm really surprised. I think Spencer's a good driver. Obviously, the car's good. I just think sometimes, and I've seen it throughout history, you can have the best crew chief, best mechanic, or best driver, or a good driver, good mechanic, a lot of money, well-funded, and it just doesn't work. Greg Hodnett ran the Hamilton car in here, and they just didn't win like people expected. So it's very situational in this sport, and for whatever reason, it's not working there. So I can understand the frustration of Spencer Bayston, but I don't necessarily blame Scotty Thiel for that.
No, I don't. I agree with that. But, this just points out just what a great driver Corey Day is and was in that 14 car. He still gets in Jason Myers' equipment every now and then, but I think it points out more what an exceptional talent Corey Day is.
I think Corey Day, yes. I think Corey Day is a extreme talent. Should have won the Eagle Nationals. I thought he made a couple mistakes there. He pulled a slider way too early on Buddy Kofoid, and Buddy Kofoid right now is a top 3 driver in the country.
No doubt.
Which is no surprise to me. I saw him when he was 14, 15 out in California, and that's one where I got right and said he has the goods. But Corey Day, yes, a talented driver. I think he can win a lot of races. He does need to work on his racecraft a little bit because, remember, he didn't get a franchise last year. And he won a lot of races. There's a reason for that. So I think sometimes, Doug Wolfgang once told me, you got to sometimes go slower to go faster. And Corey needs to do that at times from a consistency standpoint. But, yes, super talented, and he just drives the hell out of that car, and they mesh well.
We got to remember he's just 19.
What
he's
is
just 19.
What is the problem with Donnie Schatz right now? What's going on with him?
I think it's a combination of things. The Ford Motor thing, there comes a point where I'm not saying it's not the motor. It's just the combination doesn't work. He has a new crew chief again, somebody who's really green. And I think Donnie's 46 years old. And I think the game's changed a bit. I think you have the Kofoids, the Macedos, the Corey Days,
the David
Gravels.
Gravels.
Like it's more aggressive. And Donnie's not that. And it's hard to watch because I've covered so many of his wins. And it's hard for me to really even put into words what I'm watching. He has 6 top 5s in like 38 races.
Right.
You have to go all the way back to 97 and 98 for that. So I just think it's a combination of things. I don't think Donnie's happy right now. So I think you throw that all together, and this is what you get. I expect him to have a better second half, though. I find it hard to believe that he will not win a race this year. I just can't fathom that.
Yeah, it's not all about the Ford engine and then going back to Chevrolet, is it?
No. It's and other guys had success with the Ford.
Yeah.
Gary Madsen had success with it. Justin Peck, it's been spotty. But there were problems. Donnie's driving style, he doesn't mash the accelerator. I think and I've talked to him about it. It's guys who mash the accelerator will do better with the Ford motor than a guy who feathers the throttle and uses his foot a lot. And, but again, I just think they're so far out of the wheelhouse now. They have, again, a new crew chief who's green, who doesn't have a lot of crew chief experience, if any. And now you're putting them in a team that's got to get back to using Chevys again with a driver who's, probably knows the feel he wants but hasn't felt it in so long. It's got to be a problem. So I just think it's everything together, and this is the performance you're getting.
David Gravel's got a 184-point lead over Buddy Kofoid. Talk about that a little bit. I don't think that Buddy's got a chance to catch David Gravel. Do you?
I think I have a better chance of hitting the lottery tonight.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think so. Yeah.
There's no way. And look, they over the last 24 races, they've been pretty equal. But you just, that point, look at the point structure. You have to, it's only 2 points per position, 4 between first and second. Gravel's been unbelievably consistent. There is no way Kofoid's going to catch him at this point.
Right.
No.
Gravel has 39 races. He has 33 top fives, 38 top tens. He'd have to DNF probably 3 to 4 races and have Kofoid in the top 3 to really make this competitive. I just don't think it's possible. I don't think Gravel's just going to – he could take a race off.
Gravel is the most consistent driver, bar none. I always agree that David Gravel is one of the very best drivers out there.
Oh, no question about that. And he's headed back to Eldora Speedway, where he was very successful last year. We all remember what he did at Eldora Speedway a year ago.
Yeah, and we've seen that before at Eldora. Brent Marks did it as well. He won both 2 big shows in 3 days. Now, is Gravel going to do that this year? I don't know. Are we going to see that type of performance this year? Not really sure. I think I'm not going to say that. I think last year too, Gio Scelzi was leading that, and he made a critical mistake going into turn 1, and it really ruined his week. So, but yeah, I think Gravel's, there's no way he's not going to win this title. He's just not. That team, Cody Jacobs is prepared well. They have the resources. David's, in my mind, the best full-time sprint car driver in the country, because people get mad when I don't include Larson. So I'll say full-time driver. It's just, there's no way Kofoid still has nights where he finishes 7th.
Right.
And David Gravel just doesn't do that. And Gravel wins. Kofoid will win. But it's those nights when they're not good, what happens? David's going to finish 3rd, 4th, but he's going to finish 7th, 8th. So, and like Eldora next week, Buddy Kofoid's not good at Eldora for some reason. I don't know why. It makes no sense. It's just a track he hasn't gotten a handle yet. I think he would admit that. And if he finishes 6th at Eldora, that's probably a pretty good night. Maybe he's better next week. I know they've worked on it. But again, catching David Gravel over a season when you're 184 points behind, you might as well wrestle an alligator. It's just not going to – good luck.
Hey,
I think Buddy Kofoid's going to be much more excited about Knoxville after finishing 3rd in that last World of Outlaw race up there, though. I think watch out for Buddy at Knoxville.
Yeah, the encouraging part about that was he started 10th. That's the part that I like. That car, first off, Buddy Kofoid is going to win a World of Outlaws title. I think he's going to win multiple titles. And I don't think it's too far in the distant future. I think Buddy is one of the top 5 teenage talents when he was a teenager that I've ever seen. He's that good. And Knoxville, he's made the A main before, but that car is really good in dirty air. For some reason, I think it might be equal or even maybe better in dirty air than gravel is. It's close. But, yeah, I think Buddy's got to feel good going to Knoxville. He said that his problem spots are Williams Grove, which is hard to believe because he won there last year, and Knoxville and Eldora, and he's worked to improve on those facilities and being good at those facilities. So I'm interested to see how he does in these month of money races. You know, you got Eldora, then you got Knoxville, and then of course you go to the Grove, and you have the Ironman and things like that. He's pretty good at Peevely too. Just hasn't had the good fortune there that he has some other places. But yeah, Kofoid's excellent. It's going to be interesting to who's at the top of the money list at the end of the year after his Huset's performance. So, you know, Kofoid, I'm anxious to see how he performs at Knoxville and where he stacks up. Corey Day, I'll tell you who's really, you know, Corey Day's a guy you got to watch at Knoxville.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been quick. Like he's adapted to Knoxville really quick. Like you guys said, he's just an unbelievable talent. Again, there's a couple things I'd like to see him clean up, and I know he's only 19. I get it. But, yeah, I think Corey Day this year, there's no flying under the radar. I think he has to be in the favorite category for Knoxville. Right now, Larson's at the top, and then to me it's Gravel and Corey Day and Gio right under him.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Gio finished second, and Corey Day was third at the Nationals last year. So obviously, you got to figure they're going to be in the mix.
Yes, and again, it's been Corey Day's adapted to Knoxville really, really fast, and I don't know why. Because, you know, he said it, you know, half mile's not as good. Port Royal, he doesn't really look that great. Hasn't run hardly at all at the Grove, if at all. But, boy, Knoxville, I don't know if it's because it's a momentum track. He just has adapted real well there, and I do believe he can win it.
He's won the last 2 June World of Outlaw events in a row. So, yeah he's a player. There's no – hey, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about what we got to have to do about avoiding fuel stops in a 30-lap feature race. We saw 2 of them during PA Speed Week. We saw it at Port Royal. We saw it at Williams Grove. Are these guys just going to have to be told, hey, we're not stopping for fuel. If you got to put on a bigger tank, then put on a bigger tank. We're not stopping.
Well, I mean, first off, this is an easy fix, and I don't really understand what the problem is in that, okay, you have your 28, 30, and 33-gallon tanks. You know, your hitters like Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, the 2-car, they use the bigger tanks, and that's fine. And then you have the rest of the guys. A lot of them use 28s, and I think some of the issues, and they won't admit it, some of them maybe didn't fill them all the way. But okay. From a promoter standpoint, you saw what happened in Vegas. What people aren't talking about is in Vegas, I think their lap count was 60. Way too high. Way too high. Babs Motor Speedway and Colton Gauss. When I got back, Colton talked to me, and then because I was at Vegas, and then he talked to me, and he talked to Kreitz. And he talked to a couple other people. So he took his laps and went from 55 to 50. All you do is decrease it by 5 laps. And then whatever happens at that point. I think what happened during Pennsylvania Speed Week, promoters panicked. You know, you have a big stage. I think the Grove really panicked. They stopped on lap 40 with 5 laps left and told the drivers it was 50 laps. And it was paranoia. I mean, you have 5 laps left. You're going green in 2, and you have 10 till you get to the 50. You got to run that. And then an official said, yeah, but if you get a caution. I said, you can't say what if you get a caution. If you get a caution, then you stop for fuel. It's not hard. To me, you just back your laps down 5, and whatever happens, happens at that point.
Yeah, I
It's
agree
buyer
with
beware.
that. I think that's an easy fix.
Yeah, if you're going to run 28, then you have to deal with the consequences of running 28.
Of course, I was never in favor of a 50-lap race at Knoxville, so I'm for going back to 30 at Knoxville with no stoppage, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I waffle on that a lot. I understand. I don't disagree with either side of that debate. I really don't have a hard opinion on that because it's such a different event to begin with. With the format and the meaning of the race. I mean, it really is it's the biggest dirt track race in the world. I don't care what it pays. I don't care who pays more. It doesn't matter. It's the biggest dirt track race in the world. I don't care late models. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The Knoxville Nationals for sprint cars is the biggest. And so if it's 50, okay. I mean, if it was 30, I'd be okay. I don't have but yeah, I mean, look, at some point you gotta set the rules, stay with the rules, and then that's it. I mean, and they just panicked a little bit at Speed Week. I get it. Hagerstown, no, I understand more because the air was really good and they were Mach 1 around there. And that I understood going with a fuel stop. There are variables. Your air, Vegas, the air was really good. Volusia is another place where the air gets so good and you burn a ton of fuel. So there are variables to go off of that. But in my mind, in a lot of places, 90% of the time, just decrease your laps by 5 because the motors are burning more fuel, and then that's it. And then you're in the window. If the 28s start running out, then there's a problem for them.
I couldn't agree with you more. Good thoughts. Hey, thanks for spending so much time with us. SprintCarUnlimited.com. This is a great source for sprint car fans everywhere, not just Pennsylvania. Just closing thoughts about how people can look at all your material.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on, and the .com side, we're busy producing as much content as we can. We have the YouTube channel, which that's pretty much daily at this point. I do the 90 at 9. Just did a deep dive with Matt Barbara from KCP Racing, who people don't know a lot about. And we're just, like I said, we're just flooding the YouTube and the .com side and providing as much content as we can. And at this point, we're going to go into the month of money, and it's going to get really busy.
You're going to be at Eldora next week, right?
Oh yeah, I'll be at the Doty, I'll be at Eldora, and then I'll come back and go to Lernerville, then Baps for the Outlaws, and then the Grove for the Outlaws, and then in a week and a half, I'm out at Knoxville for the 360 Nationals.
We'll see you at Knoxville. Thanks so much for being with us, Jeremy. Safe travels out there.
I appreciate you guys asking me to be on. If you ever need anything, just give me a call.
All right, you take care.
Thank you.
There he is, Jeremy Elliott, SprintCarUnlimited.com. Pretty good thoughts. I agree with him on the fuel
wealth
stops.
of knowledge.
Yeah.
In sprint car racing.
He's got good thoughts about the fuel. What would be an easy fix there? But to me,
bigger fuel tanks.
Bigger fuel tanks, but they don't want to run bigger fuel tanks. Why? Too much weight. They will want to run the smaller tanks. Kyle Larson said that night he had the bigger fuel tank on. He was never going to run out of fuel at Port Royal that night when everybody else did, including Anthony Macri. So a lot of talk about that out there. Do we got time to run the final segment of Sam Hafer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can run that.
Hey, before we do, you brought up a couple of pictures of the tornadoes that was sighted up at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, I got some video.
They had a scare at Iowa Speedway yesterday. That is a monster tornado. Look at that thing. That's just at Iowa Speedway, right?
Right outside.
You see the track right there.
There's the track right there.
Wow.
So this was posted off of Andretti IndyCar. So
that is a monster funnel cloud there.
So yeah, that's
isn't that big?
It is.
Yeah, it was pretty good size. So
there were people running for cover
Yeah.
when they saw that.
yeah, it was funny because some of the first, at first nobody kind of, I don't know, if you saw it, some of the stuff people kind of wasn't moving that fast even when the alarms went off. But I think once they saw that, it kind of jump started everything, and
So hopefully the bad weather is out of there. They got an IndyCar race today
they're practicing
and tomorrow.
Yeah, they're practicing right now as we speak. So they're on the track right now. So and I just saw a report that said no problem with weather today. Checker flags.
And hopefully that applies to Knoxville, which
think
got
so.
rained out last week, and they're able to get in the show tonight at Knoxville. I'm headed to Lucas Oil Speedway, and Scott, you're going to
Valley Speedway.
Valley Speedway tonight for the non-wing sprint cars. So we're going to close out with part 2 from Sam Haferteef.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
We
this
had him on our show Monday on Mostly Motorsports, and
Kirk,
we'll just close out with this.
A lot of people are asking, what's the news on CMS?
Nobody has bought the track yet. I talked with both Earl and Susan last Saturday, and they said that there are people that are interested. There's a couple of people that are really interested in purchasing the racetrack.
It's corporate America?
No, they want to keep it a racetrack. That's one of the stipulations of the new owner coming in, is they want them to keep it a racetrack.
Who's the new owner?
There is no new owner yet. But they've got people interested in buying the track. They just looking to see who's got the money to buy it. And
who's interested in buying it?
I don't know for sure. I don't have that information, but there are 2 or 3 people that are interested in the track. But it's not been sold yet. So we'll see how things go.
Chris Yance also says, what's going on with I-70 Speedway?
Well, it's in litigation right now. It has been for the last year, when Chris Payne sued his business partner, Steve Bailey, for what they said lack of fiduciary duty of some sort, whatever that means. So this has been tied up in the legal system for a year now, and I'm told that it's close to getting worked out. I don't think it's going to go to trial, but there's some kind of mediation going on, and eventually Steve Bailey is
going to own that.
Probably going to own I-70 Motorsports Park, and when that happens, then you'll see racing back at I-70 dirt track, a smaller racetrack. A smaller I-70 Motorsports Park. When that happens, I don't know.
Are they going to make it a 3/8 mile?
Yeah, it's going to be a much smaller racetrack. At least for start, they'll probably utilize the front straightaway of the existing bigger track, but I think eventually they'll try to get the walls and everything around the smaller racetrack, which would give more room for the drag strip owners, Scott Higgs, who owns the drag strip, to build a proper access road to the staging lanes, which they need more room to do.
Right.
So for that, and he's got to get some legal issues worked out with Chris Payne as well. So there are some legal issues that need to be resolved between Scott Higgs, the drag strip owner, and Chris Payne, but eventually Chris Payne will be...
Chris Payne is the pain in the butt.
I think so, yeah. So hopefully it'll all get worked out. But I'm more optimistic now that we'll see dirt racing return to I-70 than I was a month or 2 ago.
Hey, let's make...
But we don't know when that's all going to be resolved. Hopefully soon.
I think we should probably not play this their part
Okay.
2.
We're running out of time.
Running out of time, and we got to make our NASCAR picks as well. And also, if you
Yeah, we haven't talked about NASCAR at all, have we?
no, and so if you want to listen to that whole entire interview, that's episode number 367 on Mostly Motorsports. Sam Haferteef Jr. You can click that, find that anywhere you subscribe to your podcast and that full
It's
episode.
a good interview.
It is, and we had
Sam.
we had some audio too, some other audio from other drivers.
If you
So
want to watch Sam race, he'll be at 81 Speedway tonight.
how about that?
He's the current point leader going for his 6th championship. Shane Van Gisbergen absolutely dominated the streets of Chicago. There was nobody that could touch him. Same thing happened at Mexico City, but will he be as dominant at Sonoma this weekend out in California?
He's the odds-on favorite by quite a bit today.
There is a difference between Mexico City, the streets of Chicago, and Sonoma. Sonoma, these guys have a lot of experience at, whereas the Mexico City and the streets of Chicago,
Pretty relatively new.
Shane Van Gisbergen has as much experience as these other guys do. That's why he was so dominant at those two places.
Right.
But I don't think he'll be as dominant at Sonoma as he was.
Do you think Ty
Mexico
Gibbs
City
is
and
going to
Chicago.
have a good run?
Yeah, he was my pick. So last week, we didn't really make picks last week.
That's a good pick, by the way.
But I had picked, we all had kind of picked SVG, but as my second pick, I had picked Ty Gibbs because he's such a good road course driver. And let me tell you, hitting the odds.
He might get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, so Shane Van Gisberg is plus 130, Larson plus 550, and Gibbs plus 1100. Him and Michael McDowell are tied. So your top 5 in odds tomorrow is SVG, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Michael McDowell, and William Byron. So, I mean, it's kind of been, I see Chase Elliott's right there also with Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick.
But Chase has not won a road race in this new car.
No, and I wouldn't start today. I wouldn't pick him today to do I'm going to go ahead and go with Ty Gibbs as my winner. And as my backup, I'm going to go ahead and go with William Byron because I think William Byron he's been close, and I think William Byron. So I'm going to go with Gibbs and Byron as my picks. Guys.
Byron has not won a race since the Daytona 500.
Nope.
And Ty Gibbs has not won a Cup Series race yet.
Nope. So I got some two, throwing outside the box there on my picks today. How about you guys?
I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. How about that choice?
How about that?
He led the first, I don't know how many laps at Chicago before a throttle linkage came loose on his car. But I thought he had a fast race car last week. He's won at road races before. He won at the Brickyard a couple of years ago on the road course there. And I'm thinking he just might get it done at Sonoma.
How about you, Scott?
I'm going with Ty Gibbs.
Yep.
And I'm going with Joey Logano.
There's a good pick.
Joey Logano.
Yep. How about your second pick, Kirk Elliott?
I will say...
I know who I would have picked the Dinger if I had another.
I'm going to pick the guy who won at Watkins Glen last year, Chris Buescher. How about that for an off-the-wall backup pick?
Right.
But Buescher won on a road course at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, he did. Well, I know they're I haven't seen any practice. Is the Xfinity race today, Kirk? Is that what's going on too?
I haven't even brought up the schedule.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring that up. I believe. So starting grid tomorrow, Shane Van Gisberg, Connor Zilisch, is it Sagemeyer? Is that his name, Kirk? What's the M-A-Y-E? Drives the number 41 car tomorrow. Jesse Love.
That's the Xfinity race.
Oh, that is today. So that's today at 3:30. Sorry, guys. So Ginsburg.
What you're looking at, that's Sam Mayer.
Yep. There you go.
Xfinity race.
So that is today, 3:30. There's the question I was looking
for. Cup qualifying is at 1:40 Central Time.
There you go.
And then the Xfinity race at 3:30 this afternoon. You can watch that on the CW network. And then tomorrow, the Cup race, you can watch that on TNT or Max or True TV.
Got a few options.
Toyota Save Mart 350 gets green flag at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, Central Time. So there you go.
Should be a pretty good race. So Shane's getting some more seat time in today. So he's hoping to.
I say he does not win tomorrow.
Nah, I'm not. I'm not going to say he can't win because he's got all the tools to win. How about who's the Mexican driver? He's out of his ride now. Kirk, did you see that?
Daniel Suarez got let go from Trackhouse Racing. What do you think about that, Scott?
Crazy.
You know what it is? Shane Van Gisbergen
that's exactly
moved
why.
ahead of him. That's what happened. Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen will be the Trackhouse's 2 best drivers.
Yeah, that was. I saw that announcement. That kind of came out of nowhere, kind of.
Van Gisbergen has won 2 races so far this year.
Yeah,
right?
He's been hot. So
yeah, I mean, as popular a guy as Daniel Suarez is, sometimes that's not good enough, is it?
I saw SVG.
They said a mutual parting of the ways, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I saw SVG on Junior's podcast the other day, and Junior asked him if who's your friend at the track. He goes, I don't have any friends at the track. And he goes, well, who do you hang out with? He goes, I don't hang out with any.
You know, I never had a friend at the racetrack because I was such a roughneck.
And that's what. And Shane Van Gisbergen said, look, my whole entire racing career, I've never been friendly with anybody at the track. I'm friends with people off the track.
Black is your favorite color, Trailer.
Right.
You had no friends.
I had no friends at the racetrack.
You worked them over. That's what happened.
I beat them out of the way.
You did. I saw you race out there. I wouldn't call you a dirty driver. Well, maybe you were, but
I roughed up a couple people.
You roughed them up. You roughed a lot of them up.
I did.
You know, the greatest looking race car that you had was that Praxair that pavement modified car. That was a cool looking car.
That modified
Praxair for the sponsorship.
Yep.
You won some races in the modified.
That picture's right over there, Kirk.
Yeah. And Carl Edwards drove your car to the World Cup out there.
He drove my truck.
Your truck out there.
Yep. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints.
Monday, we're planning on having Cannon McIntosh on the show.
For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Rock and roll.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.